This is my humble ham radio shack. And for my entire time as a ham radio operator, I have always used these TYT TH9800 radios, both in my car and in my shack. When I recently purchased my Ford Explorer, I put a Yaesu FTM 300 in there and took this TYT out and put it in my ham shack because the old TYT had died. This now is the third TYT 9800 that I have had die on me in my 8 years as a ham radio operator. The right side works, but the left side doesn't. So if I key up on 14652, KMRD, testing 1, 2, we get audio out of it. But if I key up on the left side, got the volume cranked, it picks it up, KMRD, testing 1, 2, but there is no audio. The buttons give audio, but even if the squelch is all the way open, no audio. So I can't hear anything out of this side. Fortunately, I was at the Belton, Texas Ham Fest over the weekend, and I was kinda looking for a radio to replace the TYT. I was thinking, do I get like an ICOM 5100 or something? I really like ICOM radios. But I also didn't want to spend that much money on a VHF UHF radio, as I honestly hardly ever talk on VHF UHF. So I'm putzing around on my little scooter at the Ham Fest, and would you believe that there's a Yaesu FT8800 for sale there, used? And would you believe, even though this price tag says $125, I managed to get this for $100. So let's crack this open and take a look. Now, those of you that don't know, the TYT 9800 is actually a copy of this radio. It's actually the copy of the 8900, which is the quad band version of this. It does 10 meters and 6 meters as well. But I don't really care about that in the shack. I just want 2 meters and 70 centimeters. And because TYT pretty much exactly copied this, I'm very, very familiar with this radio. So we got the manual. Everything still has its bags. Here's the power cord, which the previous user has already put on Anderson power poles, and he actually used genuine Anderson power poles. I already checked. We got the hand mic here, which looks in very good condition. There's no dirt or anything on it, no stuff. It looks like he did at some point maybe replace this RJ45 cable because there's no strain relief. There's usually a bit of strain relief there, but that's okay. If I need to, I can put some heat shrink on that or something, or figure out, but I probably will very rarely use this microphone to actually talk on this radio, so I'm not too worried. Got all the mounting hardware, screws, microphone holder, fuses, everything. And then the radio itself, beautiful. I mean, it is a almost spitting image of the TYT. One thing I noticed, the head unit has a tiny, tiny little bit of play in it. It does remove for remote mounting, which it doesn't look like it has the remote cable, which I don't know if it came with this radio or not, but I don't care because I'm literally just gonna mount the radio in the shack the way it was. Couple minor scuffs, a little bit of dust on it, but other than that, I mean, this thing looks pretty darn pristine. So I am gonna install this in the shack. And unfortunately, the TYT has a USB for programming where this has a 6-pin DIN. But I was looking online, I was having trouble finding a programming cable for this, which isn't that big of a deal because there's only 2 repeaters that I can hit in my area. So I'll just program those manually. So I am going to plug this in or hook this up to my shack, replace the TYT, and let's see what kind of power output and things we get out of this. And then I'll have my first Japanese VHF UHF radio in the ham shack. So I'm pretty excited for this. But first I'm going to give it just a tiny little bath. Just give it a good wipe down with just a very, very mild detergent. Nothing that's going to hurt anything. You know, try and make it as new as possible for me. Get in between those cracks there. Maybe get some dust out of the screen. Should be good to go. And then I want to sterilize the microphone, if you will, with some rubbing alcohol. Just to get off, you know, the other guy, if you will. But it looks like whoever owned this took really good care of this, so it's not dirty or anything. I don't need to really worry about taking it apart. I just wanted to kind of, you know, sterilize it. Call me OCD, whatever. Have you smelled some of those people at the ham fests? Rubbing alcohol is your friend. So let's get rid of this terrible TYT 9800 and put in a Yaesu in its place. Now, I'm actually curious how much TYT ripped off Yaesu. Will the radio fit in the same bracket? And it actually looks like it will. This could be the easiest radio swap out I've ever done. Oh yeah, just like that. Beautiful. And now I have a Yaesu installed in the shack. Now I have already done a factory reset on this, but if you don't know how, hold down the VM button. Just hold it down while powering on, push both buttons, and then you get this screen here where you can reset different things. I just wanted to reset everything because there was a couple memories stored in here, and then just push the center button there. Then you can see the thinking thing happening there, and it will reset everything back to factory settings. Just like that. And look, Mom, when I turn the squelch down, we have audio on the left side. We can also key up. K8MRD, testing 1, 2, K8MRD. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And then if we go to the other channel, K8MRD, testing 1, 2, K8MRD. I don't know how well you can hear that, but it works. And take a look. The microphone glows a nice red. You can turn off and on the light. There's a lock button here that'll lock what these buttons do. So we'll turn that off for now, turn the light back on. But everything works. This program 1 goes from VFO A to VFO B. And then the P2 button looks like it goes between VFO and memory. Program 3 will turn on your various types of tones, so you can program those real easy on the fly. And then P4 is your power. Just like that. And then all the... everything works on the keypad. These A, B, and C buttons don't do anything right now. I think you have to program those in to do stuff. And it actually PTTs. K8MRD, testing 1, 2. K8MRD, check 2, sibilance. I did notice the PTT button does stick every now and again on transmit, like that. And I took this apart. There's a little bit of foam, like right here, that I might need to mess with. But for now, I mean, it all works. It's putting out a signal. Let's do 446 as well. K8MRD, testing 1, 2, check 2, sibilance, K8MRD. Just like that. So now the $1 million question, how much power are we putting out? Now per Yaesu's website, because I couldn't be bothered to open up the manual, this should give us 50 watts on 2 meters and 35 watts on 70 centimeters. So I'm on low power, 146.52. Let's key up, we're getting 3.92 watts. Here's mid 2 power, 9 watts. Mid 1 power, 19.3 watts, and high power, just under 50 watts. So I'd say with the high calibration that these MFJ watt meters are, I'd say we're right on par with what Yaesu's saying. Now let's go over to the B band. And now we're on low power, 446.000. We're getting 4 watts there. Here's mid 2, 9.69 watts. Mid 1, 20 watts. And high power, 34 watts. So it looks like we just got ourselves a darn good radio. Now I did notice one thing about this when I key up. The fan's not on right now, but when I key up and the fan kicks on, it gets, I won't say loud, but you can definitely hear the fan. I'll put the microphone next to it. Maybe you can hear that. It's not ridiculously loud, but you can hear it. It's not a quiet fan, but for $100, I ain't complaining. So how about them apples? I finally got a real Japanese radio in my shack for VHF, UHF. My dad's got the quad version of this radio, the quad band version. He's been using it for years, and I've really liked that. I've really liked the TYTs. I've come used to the menu system, so I feel right at home on this 8800. But the TYTs, like I said, I've gone through 3 of them now, and I literally never talk on them. They just sit there on monitoring 5.2 or a repeater, and that's it. So this radio is no longer available. Looks like the 8900R, the quad band version, is still available. Doesn't bother me. I don't really talk on VHF much, but to have a nice Yaesu VHF radio here in the shack to replace the terrible TYT makes me one happy ham radio operator. So I'm really excited. Just goes to show you, if you look hard enough at a ham fest, you can find some pretty sweet deals. If you remember, last time I went to the ham fest, we got this really awesome Vibroplex paddle. So I love ham fests, and the Belton Ham Fest in Belton, Texas, twice a year is a great ham fest to go to. My name is Mike, K at MRD. Thanks so much for watching Ham Radio 2. We'll see you next time, 73.